63,000 tons. You know him, you love him, he's your favorite giant lizard with killer breath. It's Godzilla! And in the blue corner, he stinks, he slithers, he's basically just a massive heaving pile of shit. It's Hedorah the Slime Monster! Let's get ready to Godzilla films have always been notoriously weird. The premise of a 100-foot-tall radioactive lizard crushing Tokyo was already a pretty bizarre jumping-off point, and they only got stranger from there as the film series introduced more monsters, aliens, telepathy, weather machines, and whatever other wacky sci-fi stuff they could come up with. But in terms of all-out weirdness, nothing holds a candle to 1971's Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. There's sentient pond scum, there's trippy musical numbers, there's a rave full of people with fish heads on. So strap in for some serious acid-fueled weirdness in another Godzilla-sized episode of Brisflix. What up, nerds? Welcome to Brisflix, a show where I watch a movie, and you watch me watch the movie. Up until this point in the series, the Godzilla films have been predominantly directed by Ishiro Honda, who directed the original 1954 Godzilla.
You may wish to deny it, but your eyes tell you it's true.
Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster was the first film in the series to be directed by Yoshimitsu Banno, and he definitely brought his own unique style to the project. It's got this like goth thing going for it. It feels like if Tim Burton directed a Godzilla film.
Get me Johnny Depp and my wife on the phone.
It's all dark and creepy and weird. A lot of the fight scenes are in the nighttime or shrouded in darkness. It makes it all seem a little scarier. The film opens with an acid-fueled musical number full of wacky visuals that has kind of the same energy as a James Bond film opening. In case the message of this film wasn't clear, it's about pollution. The enemy is literally made of pollution. Japan at the time was suffering majorly from pollution issues, so the film is in no subtle way trying to address these issues.
Unless we can stop all this pollution and making sludge, Hedorah will continue to grow.
Well, since we created it, Hedorah is our own punishment. Down with environmental pollution.
So yeah, this is another one where Godzilla is inexplicably a good guy.
Oh, you like Godzilla, right?
Superman beats them all.
Which really doesn't make any sense because prior to this we've seen Godzilla crushing cities and killing hundreds if not millions of people. But now all of a sudden we like him. That's kind of like if a kid had a favorite natural disaster. He'd be like, I like mudslides. I like bridge collapses. I'm partial to flash floods.
Come on, Godzilla!
The Godzilla suit has seen better days. This was like the third film in a row that they've been using the same suit for, and it kind of shows. It doesn't help that they keep like literally throwing shit at him. Now, as much as I love Godzilla, don't sleep on Hedorah either. At first glance, I know he's just a big, creepy pile of shit, but there's a little more to him than that. Well, no, not really. There isn't that much more to him than that. That is his whole thing. He's like a little infected tadpole that just keeps growing and like absorbing garbage. Hedorah eats garbage, but also is garbage, and he's basically fueled by pollution. Buildings he passes over become corroded or just collapse. Animals and plants are just dying in his wake. Like, he's pretty scary.
5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4.
One of my favorite parts in the film is when Hedorah climbs on top of a factory and starts inhaling from the smokestacks like he's ripping from a bong. Oh yeah, man. That's some good pollution. Now we see why his eyes are so red. And yes, they do intentionally look like vaginas. Apparently that was part of the design to make it look kind of like uncanny and weird. I feel like that says more about the people who designed it than anything. They were like, oh, you know what makes me uneasy? Vaginas. Apparently at one point during filming, the suit actor who played Hedorah actually had his appendix burst on set, and they had to operate on him immediately, but because the suits take so long to get on and take off, they just had to operate with him while he was still wearing the suit. So some doctor administered an appendectomy to the Hedorah monster. Talk about a toxic work environment, am I right? Another weird thing about the film is these random animated sequences throughout, some of which transition back into live action in the most bizarre way possible.
More than 1,600 dead have been reported.
Of all the weird things in this film, I don't think anything holds a candle to this particular scene. The characters are dancing in a club, and it just keeps getting weirder and weirder. Evolves into a bunch of people having like a full-blown rave while they're wearing fish heads. It is trippy AF, man. It is like really strange. It's like definitely like a, whoa, they may have done a bit too many drugs sort of a situation. Fish party! Woo! I'm a fish person! Yeah! Woo! Getting down with all the starfish and octopus and stuff! I think it's meant to be a metaphor. Like, this club is supposed to be the ocean, and all these people are supposed to be like fish swimming around having a great time until all this pollution comes in and kills them. It's a bit of a heavy-handed metaphor, but it gets totally lost in just how super bizarre the entire sequence is. Eventually we get to the final standoff between Godzilla and Hedorah, which lasts about 45 minutes. Like, they really don't skimp on the monster action here. This is kind of strange, but Godzilla films tend to be a little bit light in terms of how heavily Godzilla is featured. On average, Godzilla is only even on screen for about 13 minutes in most of these films. So to have a film like this, where Godzilla is on screen for upwards of 20 minutes, is extremely gratifying. So Godzilla and Hedorah square up, and Hedorah makes the first strike. And Hedorah fights dirty, and I mean that literally. Hedorah squirts a big heap of shit right into Godzilla's face, which is degrading and stinky if nothing else. Godzilla swings Hedorah around, and huge globs of shit start flying off of Hedorah and hitting buildings nearby. There's like some guys gambling, and just a massive pile of shit just comes in through their window. It's fucking gross. Something I love in Godzilla films is seeing the people on the ground who are just witnessing the massive scale of this giant monster fight, and how small actions made by these giant monsters have catastrophic consequences for those below. Like, Godzilla might move his foot slightly and it might kill another 20 people. They duke it out for a while, but with the help of the humans, Godzilla manages to electrocute the living shit out of Hedorah, which I imagine must produce the most rancid odor in the history of mankind, like burning electrocuted garbage. No thank you. And then something really strange happens. Godzilla comes up to Hedorah, and he sticks his hands into him and rips out two orbs of some sort. I don't know what these are meant to be, but it's hard to see them as anything besides Hedorah's balls. I think Godzilla just walked up and ripped out Hedorah's balls. Maybe it's his appendix. Godzilla's actually been like trying to administer a life-saving procedure on Hedorah this entire time. I couldn't help but notice you have appendicitis. Pretty nasty infection you got there, which I guess isn't surprising given the fact that you're made of garbage. So Hedorah turns into a UFO and flies away, which leads into another one of the strangest sequences in the entire film. Godzilla tucks his tail under him and starts blasting out his atomic breath, and then he ascends. Godzilla starts flying like he's some sort of balloon. He's cosplaying as the Hindenburg. So Godzilla flies after Hedorah, and eventually he catches up with him and pummels him again, and then burns up the remaining pieces. I mean, he really kills the shit out of Hedorah. Like, he doesn't just kill him, he like burns him and then smashes him and then burns him and then smashes him and then zaps him until there's nothing left. He wants to make sure there's zero chance that Hedorah's coming back. And he succeeds, you know? He does it. Hedorah's nothing now, and Godzilla wins and saves the day, and the humans are stoked, and he wanders back off into the polluted ocean to happily live out the rest of his life. Before the pollution kills him, of course.
Godzilla! Goodbye!
And that's Godzilla vs. Hedorah. It's strange, it's unique, it's very 1960s. What do you think? Do you think this is the weirdest Godzilla film, or do you think there's weirder ones? Let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, otherwise Godzilla might rip out your appendix. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
There is a